blue truck, any of those.
Okay. I would, did you want to open us up, or do we want to?
Oh, did you park on the other side of her? Yes. Okay, well, you made it.
Thank you, everyone, for coming here today. And if you haven't signed in on the sign-in sheet outside, please make sure you do that, at least before you leave this evening.
So just wanted to say good evening, and thank you for being here tonight. Excited for me to have my first PTA, PTO, PTSA roundtable and just listen to you. I know I've met many of you, but I do appreciate you coming tonight and sharing your voices with us and with our school board, just in terms of the work taking place, what you're seeing, and how we can work together. So thanks again for being here.
Thank you. So normally, how this works is that we will call each school, and if there's a representative from the school here, if you introduce yourself and talk to us about your priorities as you see them from your school's perspective. And I guess before we start, we will just introduce ourselves. Dr. Chase, if you'd like to start.
Hi, I'm Dr. Chase, the school board member who represents the Falmouth District, and I believe what we want to hear are your sort of budget priorities, yes, as we're developing the budget proposal for next year.
I'm Dr. Elizabeth Warner. I am the representative for the Griffiths-Widewater District, and thank you for being here tonight.
Maureen Sigmund, Garrisonville District.
Maya Guy, Aquia.
Tricia Healy, Rock Hill.
Susan Randall, George Washington.
And Ms. Halstead from the Hartwood District is out of town and is not going to be participating this evening, though she is going to watch the meeting back. So if we'll start this evening, do we have someone here from the Head Start Policy Council? Rising Star, North Star? Okay, and I will circle back at the end if I've missed a school. I know sometimes getting here can be a bit of a timing challenge. Is there someone here from Kate Waller-Barrett?
Good evening. My name is Kiara Reynolds. I'm the president of the PTO. I think priority would be for Kate Waller-Barrett is the playground and the grass, the mulch. It's not up to standard. That's a big thing. We just had the big HVAC overhaul over the summer. But I know that is a challenge and has been since my little one been there since kindergarten, and she's in the 3rd grade. And I heard that from teachers and staff.
Thank you. Is there someone here from Margaret Brent? Okay. Anthony Burns?
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Nicole Balk, and I also have my Vice President, Jess, and my Treasurer, Carla. We represent Anthony Burns. We don't have any extremely pressing matters, as I know, unfortunately, some schools do. We are working, as our PTOs, we're working to fund a safe space for not just SPED, predominantly SPED, but truly every child. We have a courtyard. We use it for a safe space for SPED. It's kind of an area that they can't really elope from, mostly, predominantly. And that's just kind of a project that we really, really want kind of to prioritize. If there's anything that can be looked at or contributed or assisted with, we're in the process of writing a proposal for a mural. We want to start with a mural, but that's, yeah, pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Conway?
My name is Chris Brecht. I'm the treasurer of the PTA. Things are pretty well at Conway. We have a new principal this year after our previous principal moving on to a new school, but things are going well. One thing we'd probably like to look at is kind of what the school plan is for some of the upgrades of things like the playground and some of like the furniture and stuff like that. I know like the library has come to the PTA asking, we as a PTA could help, maybe revamping or modernizing the furniture, and we'd like to know maybe what is the school's plan? If the school is planning on doing that in the next couple of years, that wouldn't kind of make sense. Same with like the playground, but when it comes to raising funds, we'd like to do our part to, support the kids and the staff as much as we can. And on a personal note, not really, but I'd like to, from experiences in previous school systems in previous states and that too, I'd like to know kind of where Stafford stands on, the potential of using maybe foreign language in elementary schools. I know that some of the northern schools, Arlington, Fairfax, Albemarle, there's several counties in the current state that do use that, at least, once the part of the rotation with art and STEM and all those other things, but giving the children an opportunity to be exposed to some of the foreign languages.
Thank you. Falmouth? Ferry Farm? Garrisonville?
Hello, I'm Jessica Mead. I'm the treasurer at Garrisonville. Fortunately, we don't have a lot of issues or complaints this year, but one of the things that the PTO tries to help the school with are two programs that we use greatly, and it's the Accelerated Reader Program and Brain Pop. And so the PTO helps where we can with that. It works out great for Brain Pop that this county tries to do a group rate, so that significantly lowers it. But if the school could help have funding for that, that would help the PTO be able to help with other things. And then another thing the teachers are really trying to do is cover the fluorescent lighting in the room. So if there was a way to put that in the budget where they could just, make the environment in the classroom more friendly on the eyes for better learning.
Thank you. Grafton Village? Hampton Oaks?
Hi, my name is Jennifer Zirkle. I'm the president at Hampton Oaks Elementary. Some of the things that we were looking for, I'm going to say again from last year, our drinking fountains are old, they're rusted in spots. So we would like to have them converted to the ones that have the water bottle like refill. And the PTO will buy them. I'll buy the equipment. I just need to know that it's okay and that we can get them installed. Our parking is still a problem. We have faculty that has to park in the neighborhood. The baseball field, the county came in over the summer and they cleared the grass, and now we have a dirt problem. The kids play in the dirt, they play in the mud. There's also this big jagged metal piece. I'm assuming it was from a fence that was there previously. I know that Ms. Wiederhold has recently, because we just found it actually, we went out there to film a video for Boosterthon and found this. And I was like, what is this? So I know that she has recently submitted that in, but that, as well as we've had parents that have been asking for all-inclusive playground equipment. We actually have students, we have one student at our school now who is a little person, and it's not easy for her to get up and down on the playground equipment at all. So, another thing that the kids are asking for more than anything are soccer goals, whether they're removable or big, but something that's metal, like not ones that are PVC pipe.
Thank you. Hartwood? Moncure? Park Ridge? Okay. Rock Hill?
Tawanda Canty, president. Our concerns have to do with outside playground area, the safety for the children. Concerns have been addressed regarding shade over the playground area and landscaping issues. As one of the other guests mentioned, the dirt. Looking forward to having possibly reseeding and getting the mulch replaced.
Thank you. Rocky Run? Stafford L?
Hi, I'm recording secretary for Stafford Elementary. And our main problem, I guess, it's overcrowding. And I think you guys are already working on that, putting the other school. But the one other thing that I think needs to get fixed is somehow connecting the modular buildings basically to the main building, because the children are going through elements, especially in the winter, for their safety. And it's actually impacting their learning, because when they need to go to the bathroom, they get distracted, or they have to go in and out and for so long out of the classes to be able to do that. And the playground as well. One of their playgrounds, we do have 2 playgrounds, and one of them is like some of the equipment's actually a little bit rusted. So.
Thank you. Do we have someone here from Widewater?
Annie Garrison, representing Widewater, president of the PTO. We need more walkie-talkies. Our SPED department has a floater. We only get 2 walkie-talkies for each SPED class. There's at least 4 adults in there at all times. We have elopers. We've got behaviors. We need walkies. Our AC in our wing continually breaks down. We've had to take kids outside this week and last week because it's too hot. They can't learn, they can't function. Behaviors happen. That's something that's been continual for the past 4 years that I've been there. Our plumbing in our wing keeps backing up and the toilets keep going back. We'd like to replace the rest of our water fountains to be refillable, but that's kind of last resort with plumbing and everything else going on. We need some of the boards around our playground fixed, but everything else is fine. And that's it.
Can I just ask a question? You said wing. What wing?
So the original building, they added a wing to it.
And that's what, okay, that's the one you're talking about.
That's the, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Winding Creek? Okay. Sure. Okay, I'm going to circle back now through the elementary schools just to see if anybody has come in. Head Start Policy Council, Margaret Brent, Falmouth, Ferry Farm, Grafton Village, Hartwood, Moncure, and then Winding Creek. Oh, Rocky Run, sorry. Went right by it. Okay. Middle school, is there someone here from Dixon Smith? Drew? Gail?
Hi, Aretha Lowry from T. Bentagale. I'm the treasurer. This is a list from some parents we've spoken to, as well as committee. Continuity across the PTAs, like one school is allowed to do it, but another school is not allowed to do it. Basically countywide. Basically keeping the rules consistent would be nice. Let me see.
Can you give an example?
So, for instance, if one school is allowed to, say, do birthday shout-outs, just for instance, something silly, and then another school is not allowed to do it, it's kind of like, well, why is one middle school allowed and the other is not allowed? I get it that it's every administration is different, but it kind of makes you feel like it's not being consistent. Like if it's a rule, then it's a rule, but that's it. Does that help? And then also communication between the school, the parents, the students is lacking. For instance, last year, we were able to send out like an update text to the parents and stuff, or update emails the day of, like say we're having a meeting, send an email out. This year, we can't do it. So we don't understand like the changes, why we could and now we can't. And then also continuity, also about discipline throughout Stafford County. Some schools will discipline, some schools won't discipline. And I mean, like, bullying has gotten ridiculous. Some teachers will discipline, some won't. Some administration will discipline, some won't. Our kids are suffering. Mental health is a big deal right now with children. And a lot of that stems from bullying that comes in the schools.
Sure.
Just to address two things that you mentioned, and you actually alluded to it. You said, I know there's different rules at different schools, but at some point we do have to allow the principals to run their school, right? And so I would encourage you to engage with the principal to understand y'all's pressure points or why this is important to you. I mean, think outside the box. Give them a PowerPoint as to why you should be able to do a birthday shout out or whatever the issue is. Because for us to start to address that will, I fear, create an environment that a principal wouldn't feel appreciated. It is their school, right? Not that we want them to all be separate and different, but there's like autonomy there. And then the other thing about the bullying, I will just say as a parent, but also a school board member, especially if you're talking about disparity, like some teachers discipline, some teachers don't. We need to know what is what. People have to engage in an honest, meaningful way, send an email, ask honest questions. That's how you address something like that, as opposed to just being very broad. Well, it's over here, it's this way, and over here, it's that way. We hear that. What do we do about it, right? And if we engage, we're going to, get, yes, we're doing it this way and we're doing it that way, which may be true, but every principal and assistant principal can't see what's happening in the classroom. But parents may know and can be helpful with information. So I would just say communicate with your communicate with the teacher first, but also with the assistant principal, letting them know how things are from your point of view so that you guys can get on the same page as to what's actually occurring.
I'm very vocal. I think you've met me. I'm very vocal. And I would not bring this up if it had not have been brought up. And again, this is not just me. This is parents also. And I'm not going to say exactly what, because I don't think this is the forum to do so. But it was definitely working on how to say this the right way. Things can be addressed. And if you see it, we say something, even if it's something serious, not everybody's going to handle it the same way. Does that make sense? And I'm saying this with all the compassion in my heart. Mental illness in our children is big. And if we can't get a hold on the disciplining our children at school, it's going to get worse. High school is worse. College is worse. So trust me, it's been addressed.
I'll only say one more thing because I don't want to monopolize the time or anything. One thing I always did, and I'm not a dork, but I did really do this. I read that code of conduct back and forth. I knew what was, what's level 1, level 2, all those things, so that when I had that conversation, it was really hard to pull the wool over my eyes. I would engage people. If you have to have those conversations, know our policy back and forth, bring it in with you, and then explain, respectfully, explain to me why this wasn't followed. It gets you a lot better communication with the people.
Is there someone here from HH Pool?
Hello again. Same name, Jennifer Zirkle. I'm the vice president at HH Pool, and we have the president here, Jackie. That's their first time, so it's on me. First of all, I do want to say thank you for helping us with the volleyball equipment. That was like a very huge, huge thing. Our PTO doesn't have the budget like the elementary school does being said, our field hockey goals are being held together with zip ties and duct tape. Our maintenance gentleman that works there kind of did a miracle. They're probably not going to make it past this year. We actually did a little bit of research too, like the cost-wise. All these things that we're going to be bringing up are things that are completely outside of our budget. Our football team, really all of our teams, they're looking for any type of a wagon or equipment, something that they can pull it out to the fields. There's our scoreboard. We had our first football game a couple weeks ago, and it just kind of sat there leaning to the side, and nobody was putting the score up. There was none of that happening. It was really sad. So to be able to get an electronic one would be really nice. I know we're just middle school, but it matters. There was also a shed at the school that was torn down because it was just completely disintegrating upon itself. Ms. Coates would like to have another one. We've even looked up the price to get one of the big storage containers that's actually cheaper. And then we thought it would be kind of cool to maybe do something with the art students or even the students in the school to maybe paint a mural on the outside, just to make it fun. That was cheaper than a shed, and the sheds are smaller. Also, the gym needs a coat of paint. The bleachers are broken. We can't pull them out for games and different things like that. So those are all the things for pool.
Thank you. Shirley Heim.
Every year. So our elective teachers, tech ed, our digital art, all of them, they don't have all of their supplies they need for the students. A lot of parents are a little tired of forking out all the money to supply the teachers with what they need. I've spent over $500 the past year and a half supplying my kids' teachers with what they need, and it's just 2 elective teachers because we already pay orchestra. Our scoreboard doesn't work. Our track needs an update desperately. Our kids are tripping during our track meets. Our kids are complaining that the asphalt is just not conducive. There's holes. It needs to be fixed, especially before this next season, because injuries do occur. We need more laptops and chargers for our students because as they're breaking, they're not getting fixed in a timely manner. So students are missing assignments. Teachers aren't printing assignments if they don't have their laptops. That's it.
Thank you. Stafford Middle.
Hi, I'm Kathy Magana. I'm the president, and I have Jubilee here with me, my VP. We're currently in the transition from a PTO to a PTA right now, so I don't really have anything to bring up at this current time.
Thank you. Rodney Thompson.
Hi, I'm Joe Kester. The biggest thing that we have going on right now is Mr. Arch upgrading furniture for all the classrooms. We're going to try to do it piece by piece this year and then next year. And then new tech for our smart boards and whatnot for our classrooms as well. Trying to get our classrooms more modernized. We don't have a scoreboard for our football team. Probably a future 5-year plan that we may work on that, but as of right now, there hasn't been a need for it, but we probably will try to work on it. Our big push this year is our marquee, is the original slab of stone, if you will, when it was probably built. We want to upgrade that as well, and we're working with the student council to raise funds for that this year. And that's all I have.
Thank you. A.G. Wright. Okay. Just checking on whether anyone from Dixon Smith or Drew. Okay. Moving on to our high schools. Is there anyone here from Brook Point? Okay. Colonial Forge. Mountain View.
Hi there. Good evening. I'm Heather Riva. I'm with Mountain View PTSO. Joining me this evening is Carmenia Bradley, our VP of Fundraising. And first off, I want to thank you all for being here. And I would encourage you, like, don't lose your steam when you get to high school, because we're going to need you more than ever, because it's all rainbows and unicorns in elementary school, but it's really when the students, the bigger kids need you, that our support is, it needs to be established and in our community. I do want to say thank you to Mrs. Healy for supporting Mountain View, also Dr. Smith, providing this venue and the resources that we can network, we can hear one another, we can try to be productive. We only have a couple of things from Mountain View, and it's one, because we're 104% capacity. We're anxiously awaiting that new high school, and we can't wait. But one is a security issue that was brought to our attention following the lockdowns. And it was, and I haven't had the chance yet to validate it, so please don't quote me on it yet, but let's explore this to make sure that it's in place. But the radio systems for the sheriffs, and whether or not those radios are working optimally in the school. I know that there was an upgrade perhaps to that was supposed to have happened, but I'm not sure if it's taken place. And again, we haven't had this opportunity to talk to Mrs. Sullivan about it at our PTSO meeting. We'll be having that in a week or so. But just to make sure our security systems are fully, functional, that they're working to the level that they should be. Along security, what we're finding in the high school is 99% of the kids, or maybe 95% of the kids, are great. There are no issues. It's those issues where there are fights, and we're actually in the school, parents are in the school volunteering, where, there's a situation. And I'll share just a short story where there was a scuffle about to happen, and being the embarrassing mom, I just walked right through it, and I said, oh, I need to get something over here. Well, it diffused the situation. Was it smart? Not exactly, but I thought I need to diffuse the situation because I've seen what's about to happen. I would like to see the Sheriff's Department or someone provide us with some training for our volunteer community, that we're in the schools already, whether it be muffin cart or snack cart or whatever you guys call it, or our events, and making sure that we know how to diffuse the situation, what to see something, say something. That is obviously the rule, which we abide by, but just something a little bit more formal for our volunteers would be helpful. One last thing, we have actually two more things. One, if you're aware of any grant opportunities that we can apply for as a PTSO or a school, there are some needs that we have at Mountain View. We would like to do a wellness room similar to Brook Point, and we would like to just enhance our community without having to go to you all for your tight funds. We understand that. We all have this one pot of money. And then lastly, we have, this year I'm told, 20 new teachers. So whatever we can do to support them in their development, in staying, in mentorship, in support for discipline, that would be appreciated, because I think the more we support them in the beginning, the longer they'll be. We have some teachers that have been at Mountain View for as long as the school's been open. We want to see that success with our other teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. North Stafford High School. Stafford High School. ATI. CGS. Okay. I was just going to say, is anybody here that I haven't called or that has come in since we started and I missed your opportunity? Anyone have anything else they'd like to add that they may have forgotten? Yeah. This is Lillian Eason. She's our alternate student representative.
Hi. For Brook Point, I would say that one of the things that we would really like as the students is better maintenance on our HVAC systems. Some schools, or some parts of the schools, they're like really, really, really cold in the mornings, while others is like 85 degrees in the rooms. I kid you not, like we are sweating at 7:30 in the morning just trying to get history done. It's really uncomfortable. It makes a lot of students want to leave the classrooms and just go walk around in the halls because it's not a comfortable setting. I would also say our announcement systems, like we're supposed to get that done over the summer, and for the most part it's working, but some parts still don't always get the announcements, especially with the lockdowns. When we had one of our lockdowns, our practice ones, it went off on the computers, but not all of the classrooms got the actual announcements. And so if that was a real life situation, a lot of kids could have gotten hurt. And yeah, it's just little knickknacks like that. Other than that, I would say because the school's getting built right next to us, there's a whole bunch of infrastructure that's just kind of everywhere. So we just have to keep control of that. But other than that, everything's good. It's just the HVAC systems and the announcements still. And all the infrastructure stuff everywhere.
Thank you. Yeah. Did any of our board members have anything they'd like to?
I just wanted to say that we are going to be discussing the CIP at our work session, and I know that Mr. Towery said that the Kate Waller Barrett Playground is scheduled for FY29. I know that we have been working on the Brook Point HVAC system, but because we can only do it during the summer, we are doing, all these systems get fixed incrementally, which is probably the worst way to fix them. So you have some hallways that are freezing and some hallways that are too warm. I think that the 3R project list covers many of the tracks and the tennis courts and the other things, but I'm absolutely certain we don't have scoreboards on there. And I do appreciate that students do like to see how they're doing, but it's triage. So I would say look at those 3R projects. They're on our website, and try to get some idea where your school might be. That might help.
I mentioned scoreboards to Dr. Smith this week. So I was like so glad to hear that people were talking about it. I'm not crazy, I promise. Ms. Guy?
Well, this is to Dr. Smith. I trust that you're aware of all things, but some of the things mentioned sounded like potential safety issues or, gosh darn, safety issues. So I am just asking that you would, in the month of October, address it maybe in the school board bulletin, just letting me know that you know about the safety issue and letting us know the status, or maybe it's not a safety issue, but this is going to bother me until you tell me something, okay? Thank you.
Ms. Guy, I appreciate you bringing that up. There was, I am aware of some of these issues, and I know our team is working on them. There's others that I wasn't aware of that I'll definitely follow up, especially any safety concerns there. And I think, to Dr. Warner's point, I think a number of the things mentioned are on the 3R list. And so this is helpful for I know for you, but it's also helpful for me and our team as we take a look at some of those things to see what we can do and what we can do to help, and what might be some temporary measures that we can take to put things in place, especially if we have some additional support coming down the road. But happy to especially prioritize the safety and security items.
Yeah, and what I was going to say is, like, with children tripping and falling at track meets or whatever, that sounds like maybe something that we, say, hey, that might be an emergency, and let's, do that thing where we get extra money. I don't know.
And that one is on the FY27 3R list, and so so that might be something we could take a look at and see if that needs to be prioritized earlier.
The chair just told me we don't have any money in that fund.
So that we had that emergency fund for 1 year. It was part of our 3R budget last year, but
Get it again?
it was not part of this year's budget.
We need to change that.
Different board, different room. I saw a hand back up there. Go ahead. So that's next budget year. That's the budget we're about to do.
But when we fix it, will we be fixing it like we fixed Wide Water's playground blacktop area where we barely put any asphalt on it, and now it's gone to nothingness again? Or are we actually going to fix it the correct way and not have to put more money towards fixing it over and over again?
So, of course, we are going to fix it and want to replace it. What we have in our 3R list is to replace the track, the long jump, and the grounds improvements. So we'll be taking a look at all of that to see how we can improve those areas there in FY27 is what's currently proposed. Now, I will give the caveat, that's what's proposed, and it does depend on the funding we receive around the CIP and the 3R list. And so we update that every year. That is proposed for FY27, but that is subject to funding at the same time.
So one of the things I'd like to kind of get some feedback from my board on, you know, we do publish our 3R list for many, many years in advance, and it is generally grouped by year. Might it be helpful for some of our PTOs if we gave them one that was grouped by school so they could see what might be coming in the short term or long term, so they could see what they might be raising money towards and what they might, you know, wait on because there's money coming, or could maybe long-term plan to coordinate with that. Of course, anything on our 3R is contingent upon funds being appropriated to us that would cover that, but at least having the plan. So if that would be helpful to them, and if we don't have an opposition to that, I think that might be just good information.
Give to the principal to share.
Or, yeah, whoever, but a school-based list might be really informative.
We're happy to put that together, and we can share that with our principals and staff so they can be aware.
Annie?
For that list, even if it's not school-based, if it was accessible maybe on the school web page for parents to actually see it, that would be really nice. Instead of having parents go search for it or resend it every time, could we do something like that also?
I'm sure, right?
Yeah, we can make that available, and then it would be really each school could consider putting that up. I mean, the list right now, I mean, I'm looking at it because it's on tonight's agenda, and I'm just kind of doing a control find, right? Trying to, as each one of you are speaking, I'm seeing what's coming up on your list so I can be aware of that. And so it is pretty easy to kind of to search there, but we can definitely make that available and on our website, and we can share it with schools too if they'd like to put that up.
I think for the community, that would be a
So a question about this process, like we're providing comments for the budget, it's incorporated into the budget, assuming for these CIP issues and the 3R, does it roll into one big budget or is it a supplemental budget? It's one big budget? No, okay. That's one question, but then the second question, are these facilities county owned in the sense that they're managed or they're I guess, by the county, like the supervisors, or no? Okay, because Parks and Rec has access to them. You know, these are county used, you know, it's fully available to the community. So I'm just wondering, just in terms of process, if we were to separate out these budget requests, if it would be more palatable to the county so that we can get more funding to address these major issues.
Do you, Dr. Chase, had, I mean, and if you're, I mean, you can certainly answer the question.
So I serve on the CIP Advisory Committee. Couple years ago, we would basically get permission to borrow $6 million a year to cover 3R type projects. And I think the last year it went up to 12 million, and I think this year, is it still 12 or is it 17? Yeah. So the supervisors have started giving us more money, but we are way, way, way behind. What's the number we should be at? 25 million a year is what you would expect given the properties that we own, what it would cost to maintain them. So the Board of Supervisors seems to have recognized that to some degree and trying to incrementally get us to that 25 million, but we are so many years behind that's difficult. So also to your question, the CIP part of the budget is separate from the operating budget. The operating budget is the budget that pays for our teachers, and we own the schools, yeah. And I did want to say, I had a couple of comments. One was, you know, we had a lockdown, unexpected lockdown at Mountain View and an unexpected lockdown at Stafford High School. And I just wanted to thank parents who reached out to us and pointed out things that maybe could be done differently or questions. I forwarded those to Chris Zook, our head of school safety and security, so that he could look at some of that stuff. And it's much appreciated to not just hear everything's a mess, but to hear, hey, maybe you want to look at this, or maybe you want to look at that, because that's very helpful. And then we've been hearing lots of things about the CIP. Next year's budget, I am just raising the alarm. We definitely need advocacy. Opening those 3 schools increases our operating budget by $9 million next year. Okay? And all that money has to come from the county. It won't come from the state. So that's a big lift, and that doesn't give any teacher a raise. We're also losing all-in Virginia money. That grant money goes away this year, so the positions that have been paid for that, we have to find that. And we also need to address our administrator scales. Those are just a few things that are just on my list of awareness. There will be more as we hear more from various stakeholders. But we definitely, as you know, we don't get to write we don't have taxing authority, and so we definitely need parents to support us with the supervisors that as much as we can get would be great. Thank you.
Does anyone else have, oh, sorry, I didn't see you, sorry.
Yeah, it is currently slated to open FY '27, is that right? Yeah, summer of '28, fiscal year, yeah. So opening fall of '28, yeah. It's on schedule. It just went through got the conditional use permit. So far, it's on track.
So with all that going on in teacher budgets and everything, what are we doing with our teachers who are on the Participate program? As I know, lots of them will be leaving some at the end of this year and next year. So what are we going to do to make up for that in the budget for the teachers coming in or wanting to stay?
I think specifically around our Participate program, and we anticipate continuing to be able to work with Participate. They help us to support a number of vacancies we might have, but we are also looking at our recruitment process and how can we recruit differently, how can we make sure that we're getting out there and finding other ways to bring folks into Stafford, looking at our benefits package, just anything we can do to help them to see why they should come here and teach in Stafford. We talk. Oh, I'm sorry, some people might not know about Participate. Our Participate program is a program that we work with folks to bring in teachers from overseas to different high needs areas, and they come and commit to a certain number of years for us and work with us for a number of years before usually going back to their home country or applying for a visa and working in that capacity. So we've had good success, as with a lot of school divisions in Virginia, and a lot of our neighbors have utilized that program. And so just one of the many recruitment strategies and retention strategies that we employ here. So
can I just jump in really quickly, because the representative from Conway was asking about foreign language instruction, and one of the great things about the Participate program is Widewater has a dual immersion program. So there are is it one classroom, or two classrooms, right, a Spanish room. And so the kids do half their instruction in English and half their instruction in Spanish. And part of the reason they chose to do that at Widewater is that there are quite a few English language learners in the school. And so you get a good mix of kids who are fluent in Spanish coming in and kids who are fluent in English. And so they can help each other learn those languages. So it's been pretty successful, and Participate helps because we're able to bring teachers in who are fluent in those languages as well.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add? Members of the board or our guests?
You stopped with Ms. Guy, so Ms. Randall and I haven't had a chance to
Go ahead,
chime in. I just wanted to thank you all for what you do, because I think you make life better for our schools, our staff, not just the teachers, but all the staff. And you can do things that, you know, we're just not in a position to do, so thank you. I know you mentioned the amount out of pocket for school supplies. That wasn't just for your kids, that was helping the teachers, help the others, because if not for you, they'd be spending even more of their money. But it's just the little luxuries that you do, and little surprises, and you know, think happy thoughts. But we need to hear what you're telling us now about some of the challenges and the needs, and all schools are not in the same position. We have different populations and, you know, different buckets that can be brought. And I'll never forget when Kate Waller-Barrett opened, and it was, over 20 years ago, the PTO president told me, she said, Tricia, she said, you know, our families can't buy Joe Corby pizzas. That was the big thing. Now they're probably banned because they have, you know, unhealthy elements. But back then it was, you know, $20 for a Joe Corby pizza 20 years ago. You're making a good donation to the PTO. But, you know, that really made me think, you know, about it. And at that point I started encouraging, you know, more interaction among our PTOs. And I think Winding Creek stepped up, and, you know, they were doing, you know, kind of partnering with Kate Waller-Barrett at the time to, you know, to help out with some of this. So, you know, everything you do is much appreciated. And some of these issues that you raised, the safety issues, the bleachers, the asphalt in the track, they won't wait to be addressed, you know, after, assuming that the investigation goes through and they determine, you know, what needs to be done, because safety and security are always our number one priority. Whether it's on the list for 2 years from now, next year, if it is truly a safety issue, it has to be addressed. I mean, it's just, regardless of whether there's emergency funds or not, you know, we have to find the money. And in some cases, you know, we have actually gone to the Board of Supervisors and asked for funding. And, you know, they've helped us out, you know, in some cases. And I think because of what happened at Rodney Thompson with that boiler exploding when fortunately no students were in school, that really brought to our supervisors and our public, you know, our community, it's attention that our schools, you know, are getting older, and that they need more than just those Band-Aids. So thank you for letting us know, and don't hesitate to keep in touch with us. We have an email that says school board members. It goes to all of us, and also to our superintendent and our clerk. So anytime you want to bring something to our attention, you know, feel free. And also use your administrators. Your principals are the ones that really have that contact, you know, with the central office here, you know, with the superintendent, with the staff, and they're going to be your best avenue to get these issues sent forth. I mean, you can send them as well, and it doesn't hurt to have a second, but, you know, go through your principal, because they're the conduit, and they're the ones that have the contacts on the staff. I mean, we have 2 employees, our superintendent and our clerk, so nobody else works for us, but they all work for the superintendent. So, but thank you, and thank you for giving up your time to come here tonight. Just one more thing about the discipline not being the same across the schools. This is not the first time I've heard that. It's like one of those broken records, and my daughter graduated in 2011 from high school, and it was a problem then, and hasn't all gone away. So don't stop bringing these issues to our attention. Sometimes we need that, you know, that broken record to really make us get to it.
Ms. Randall?
Thank you. I would also like to thank you all for coming out this evening. I can't tell you how many years I sat out there in the audience as the PTA parent and got to come and learn what's going on at other schools that was similar or different, because as Ms. Healy says, each of our schools is like its own little subcommittee, depending on your family makeup, depending on the student makeup. And, you know, it's quite unique in a county like this. And, you know, I've been in the county for myself for over 50 years, raised 3 kids here, was a teacher at Brook Point here. And I'm just saying this because, you know, elections come and go, and if anybody would like to know what your next step is after PTA, school board, just, you know, get your practice
I
in.
didn't get to be in the PTO ahead of time, so that job was taken. That's why I ran for school board, 1999.
But I will say that there's been a lot of learning that I did as a PTA member about what a school board can and cannot do. One of the things that really struck me, because it's one thing that I would say as a board we've been huge advocates for, and it's really working to our advantage, is the teacher support. We do have a Mentor 360, so we do make sure the teachers, first-year teachers are given their mentorship, but then the first-year teachers came back and asked for a second year. So Mentor 360 now covers them for 2 years, and we do it for administrators. So we have this 360 support system for them, and we have a lot for them. They do have to ask sometimes, like, who do I talk to, where can I get? But we do have those things, which is very nice that our school system offers. And that was something that was very important to the board in trying to make sure, you know, Dr. Chase talked many times about her reason for getting on was because there was this huge change in teachers. And it's, yes, we know it's a countrywide, statewide, all those things kind of issue, but we care more about what we can do for our little local part of Stafford, Virginia. So I just, and that is something that has worked, and we hear all good things. And then even in the summer, we come in and for the first year teachers and serve them dinner. We make sure during their training week, because we know it's difficult when you don't have a paycheck yet to get all your meals. So we make sure we supply those for that week. Our staff does, not school board. We serve.
Plus, they only get paid once a month. Like,
Yeah.
it's still 1977. Just saying.
Oh, it was that way when I was a teacher too. But I just have to say that that is something we care about a lot, is making sure that we provide these services for our teachers. I do appreciate the part about the bullying, and I will say that that is something that we're asking our county to look at to make sure that we know that there's a bully month, we know that, but we would like something a little more consistent, all 3 levels. So not just an elementary thing like a Dare Days type of situation, but all 3 levels. So that is on our radar, and that is our board's ask. So I will say that that is something, but, you know, I think one of the things that when we go to retreat every November, and board situations, conversations come up as we set our agenda, and I will say, Dr. Chase has been prodding us for a while, since I've been on the board, to try to do something about phones, technology. And in that November timeframe, and I'll even tell you that staff somewhat did not agree with us, is we said no phones bell to bell before the state even said anything. And we just wanted our county to be, and that was in November, to implement in August. And our staff, Dr. Robertson, was instrumental in helping push that to make sure that everybody knew. And like you talk about consistency, that had to be consistent. We were, you know, hearing about the fights in the bathroom, and 30 kids would be in the bathroom. They all got the invite, but nobody from administration was invited. So that was a little bit of a problem. And the same with, you know, just even some of the bullying. Like, can we just make school? And so that was huge in trying to get that. And it's funny, the anecdotal conversations, I can't say it makes necessarily good statistics, but the anecdotal conversations that we're hearing from kids who are like, we're actually talking in a classroom. Usually when the teacher asked the question, the goody-goody would raise their hand and answer them, but the rest of the class didn't participate. And we're actually participating. So it's, you know, is there problems? You bet. And we're trying to take a bite one bite at a time. But the other part of this is the parents. You know, like, I need you to lock your kid's phone up at night. You're paying the bill. And I need you to, you know, parent is the verb, and we need that part too. You know, we're doing our part in keeping technology away so the kids can't send the nasties, but we need the parent part a lot. So, you know, we've had very good conversations with The Anxious Generation, which was a book that we all read, and that is huge and helpful to understanding some of the problems. And, you know, my oldest is 27, and he's encompassed in that book. So that's, to me, is like, oh, okay. So I recommend it. But I also just think that when we talk about the bullying, we need partnership, continued partnership. We're doing our part. We've revamped on our discipline policy. We have someone hired in discipline who's training up our admin teams. So we've done parts. I can't say all of it. We're getting there, but we also need partners. So, thank you.
Yes?
Vamping up discipline and behaviors and a code of conduct. Yes, it's very important that everyone is informed of that. But I think that we need to address trauma-informed teaching and training. I think that we need to address behavior management. I think that we need to address positive reinforcement, safety within the school, the importance of building relationships with our students. I taught at Stafford Middle. I taught at Conway Elementary. That is something that is lacking, I think, just throughout the county, probably maybe even the world, where, you know, we are holding children accountable, but we are not informed as adults, as teachers, of how to properly connect with them so that way they can change their behaviors, so that way they can learn the content in the curriculum. As a teacher, it goes beyond the curriculum. We know that. But I think now we need to look at education going beyond the curriculum and education as a whole and addressing those behaviors from the teacher's standpoint, right? And not just hitting the kids with the code of conduct. No, handing our teachers actual tools to use to prevent addressing the code of conduct. That's it.
Thank you. In the interest of time, I'm trying to keep everybody's schedule. It is just about 7 o'clock. Did you have any closing remarks, Dr. Smith? We'll circle back to you. Are you good? Okay, so we have some homework to do on our end, and we definitely want to keep this line of communication open. We do not want this to be a one meeting, once a year relationship. Reach out to us, invite us to stuff, send us emails, let us know what's going on, because we love that, and we really are just so very grateful for everything that you do for our community. Thank you. Board, we can take like a 15-minute break, and then we'll regroup in the back.